So it's 1:02 Eastern, so we'll start this. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Brendan Vale from the SMRP Association for Maintenance and Reliability Professionals. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're going to talk about a practical guide to SMRP certification. As usual, we'll try to wrap this up within 45 to 50 minutes. You'll have the ability to participate via the chat in the Teams. And so don't hesitate to write down your questions and comment and let us know if this is the best stuff you've ever heard, or if we're stupid, Brendan and I. Hopefully it won't be that. Also, if you want to intervene, unmute yourself and feel free to comment and ask questions. We'll try to leave a couple minutes at the end to answer all of your questions. So Brendan, well, we'll start with you. What's up, Brendan? Who are you?
That's great. So yes, Brandon Wheel. I am currently employed with MaintainX, which is a computerized maintenance management software system, highly rated. And I currently serve in a volunteer position as the vice chair on the board of directors for SMRP. So I've been volunteering for years. We'll talk about some of those volunteer opportunities later in this presentation here. Prior to joining the world of maintenance reliability, I got my start in the nuclear Navy as an electrician and an operator and maintainer on an aircraft carrier, providing light propulsion, steam for catapults, all those kinds of things as part of that part of my journey there. And then afterwards, I've worked in the industry for a little over 20 years as a trainer, a consultant, implementing reliability best practices and programs all over the world, as well as coaching individuals through reliability improvement projects. So a little bit about me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brandon. As for myself, for those of you who are familiar with our series of webinars, you must know everything there is to know about me. But I'm an engineer, work with reliability solutions, where I am the director of technologies and responsible for the office in Montreal. My background is mechanical engineering. My career started as a lube technician in a mine in northern Quebec, and slowly but surely, learned a lot that there is to know about reliability. We're going to touch base on a little bit of that later in this presentation. And yeah, that's pretty much what there is to know about me. So without further ado, Brandon, what is SMRP?
SMRP is a member-driven nonprofit, a 501c3 organization that was really started in 1992 by about 18 companies. So there's about 18 different reps from different companies that got together and decided that they wanted to form this society around maintenance reliability best practices, right? And to share ideas and to grow the membership and to get those best practices out there. So the initial founding was by practitioners for practitioners, and that still remains at its core, although we've grown, and it really was just US based in the beginning, and now we have a gigantic, almost 60-40 split between our international members and our US members. So we've grown tremendously since 1992. There's an annual conference, all sorts of opportunities to volunteer and get involved and to network, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But 9,000 members and growing every day, 80 plus countries. So very, very happy to be part of this organization and to have volunteered and been a part of it over my years of service there. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brandon. So what are we going to talk about today? So obviously the idea here is to discuss the certifications that SMRP provides, right? So we're going to talk about why we should be certified. Of course, we're going to spend some time discussing the exam and the certification journey. myself and Brandon will share, some personal stories about our CMRP certification and exam and why we did that. And yeah, in the end, we'll talk about next steps for you guys. If you're interested in the certification, what to look for, what to read, how to prepare, and a little bit of a touch point on the upcoming um, uh, conference that will happen this fall. So without further ado, let's go. So we have a little poll that's going to show up on your screen, guys, on the Teams screen. And basically what we want to know is you're 80 people currently. So we'd like to know, are you looking to get certified within the next year? And so once you answer, you should see the results showing up on your screen. I'm just going to bring up this here on the screen so you can see the results. So 62%, around 60, 30%. All right, so there's a fair amount of people that lean towards getting certified within the next year, or if it's not the next year, maybe it's within 2 or 3 years. Doesn't matter. The fact that you're here today tells me that you have an interest in that certification. So hopefully we're going to uh, get you all the answers and get you in the right direction with it. Another question: why are we here? So there's an interest in getting certified, but why would you like to be certified? Couple of answers possible here showing up on your screen. You want to advance your career, you want to become more valuable to your organization, increase your credibility, join the top tier of M&R professional. So again, just enter your answer and let's have a look at the results. And while we wait, yes, the masterclass is being recorded and is going to be available on our YouTube channel, the Reliability Solutions YouTube channel, right after that meeting, right? And we can share the link with all of you, of course. So let's have a look at the responses. So it's a bit of a tie. So some of you want to advance your career. Some of you guys think that this would become valuable to your organization. That's pretty interesting answer. Some of you want to increase your credibility, and some of you want to join the top tier M&R, maintenance and reliability professionals. So it's a bit of a tie. Pretty good. So hopefully we're going to tackle all of this with Brandon and make sure we encourage you to advance your career, become more valuable to your organization, increase your credibility, and join the top tier maintenance and reliability professionals. So to me, that's something that is very important, and I want to say that from the get-go. It's not because you are certified that it automatically makes you the greatest maintenance and reliability engineer on the planet, right? It's because they commit to becoming great that they want to get certified, right? It's very important to understand that. Sure, some of you guys will want, the fame, the 4 letters at your email signature. Yes, for sure, and it's great. But really, what my vision is, and Brandon's too, is really around the certification is just a milestone in your process of becoming a good to great reliability engineer. All right, Brendan, you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah. This is one piece of the total package. There's a lot of personal growth and professional growth that comes with this, as well as the extended journey. So absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right. So Brendan, why should we get certified?
That's a good question. There's some work involved, so we want to make sure that it's worth our while, right?
Mhm.
These were member surveys that we conducted, and this was the results from some of the questions we asked around. What is the value of your SMRP membership, and what is the value of the certification, specifically the CMRP and CMRT? And that leaders, more than half the leaders said that they were more likely to consider a candidate that has that CMRP certification or CMRT associated with their name. And there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about the credibility that comes with with that certification. A fair number of people it reported that they saw an increase in salary, with their existing employer, not necessarily even having to change employers. So that's always good, right? More money. That's always good. That's something that most people are interested in, right? 62% of the organizations that were surveyed saw that they actually saw real, no kidding, improvement to their operational metrics. So that could be reduced downtime or cost, OEE, throughput, quality, right? All those things that the why we do the maintenance reliability, why we have those best practices, why we are committed to having streamlined work management. That's the 62% said, hey, I had somebody that has their CMRP and they were driving results, right? And that almost, 3/4 of the membership that were surveyed said that they had saved over $50,000, because of the knowledge and their ability to apply what they had learned to their organization. So, it moves the needle, right, for both yourself and your employer. Next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so the with them, right? The what's in it for me. Obviously, again, the money part, right, is always nice. But if you're like me, you're a lifelong learner. You're somebody that is just always interested in learning more and more about all of these best practices and new technologies, and things are certainly evolving, right? With AI and really getting more into some of those advanced technologies. So it's a way to keep up with that, right? And then the certification helps you broaden your knowledge. It helps you expose you to maybe some of the other aspects of maintenance reliability that you don't really know a lot about. The networking part is invaluable for me. I mean, it's something that I've grown my network tremendously through SMRP, getting the opportunity to meet people and work with people through my volunteer positions or on the board that I wouldn't normally meet, right? Unless they were maybe a customer. So huge opportunity. Networking is tremendous. If you're not leveraging your LinkedIn network, then there's a missed opportunity there. Personally, right? There's the structured pathways, some career paths, right? They absolutely require that you have a CMRP. There's certainly some employers that said, must have CMRP, or at least, you'll be considered more highly if you have the CMRP. And then I've mentioned volunteering a few times, but the opportunity to volunteer your time, to provide input, to be on some of these committees, to help shape the annual conference, right? This is all things that grow your leadership and your sphere of influence. So, CMRP and CMRT, this is a big talking point, one that we use a lot because it is important. We spend a vast amount of time and energy on maintaining this ANAB accreditation. So it's under the ISO IEC 17024, which is the international standard for certifying people. So these two certifications, we are required to get audited. We're required to have somebody that is a psychometrician, which I'd never heard that word before in my life before this, but that's somebody who validates the test, right, and uses statistical analysis and scientific principles to make sure that the test is valid and that it's not biased, and that we're getting the results that we would expect to get from those test questions. Any nonconformities have to be resolved within a certain amount of time to maintain that accreditation. So not all certifications have ANAB, and that doesn't mean that, if a certification doesn't have ANAB, that it's particularly bad or wrong or anything like that. It's just, what you're getting when you receive a certification that has that ANAB accreditation. So why does this matter for our employers? Well, we talked about, increased benefits as far as like OEE, safety, throughput, cost, all those things. But if I'm getting somebody that is a CMRP, I kind of know what I'm getting, right? And because of that ANAB accreditation and all the rigors that go along with maintaining those standards of testing and the maintenance that goes around the system to support the certification, you know exactly what you're getting. You know that the folks that are able to pass that exam are able to have fairly deep knowledge within the various 5 pillars that we'll talk about a little bit, and that these folks are not just book smart, right? But they have some level of practical know-how or some experience in some way or another that has lent themselves to being able to interpret these test questions and answer them in a way where some of them can be ambiguous and not always straightforward. So it's definitely a difficult test, and Johan's going to talk a little bit about that in the future here. But the idea is, right, this accreditation helps CMRT and CMRP hold themselves to a higher standard.
Exactly, Brendan. So we're going to touch base on that after. So beyond the exam, beyond just the certification, here, what I'd like to say is that certification should not be a goal in itself, right? So that's why we came up with this little graphic or visual here on the right is, many people pass exams. Very few apply what they have learned. So there's a big difference between knowing the theory and having read all the books, but actually making a difference, putting things in action and applying the knowledge, everything that you've learned to actually something real, concrete, tangible. There's a big difference, right? So really what I want to say here is don't get certified because you want the 4 letters or just because it's just another check in the box, right? Get certified because, or at least that's my recommendation, get certified because you want to get into the direction of actually changing things in your organization, in your career, in the world. If you are an idealistic person, you want to make a difference, and you feel like you work in maintenance and reliability because you love industrial manufacturing world, and you think it makes a difference in the world and is good for your community, your country, or whatever. Well, in that case, that to me is actually a very good reason, right? And that's my perspective. Of course, you don't have to agree, right? So again, certification is good, and don't get into that directions because of the certification, but because of the path, right? Is really my 2 cents here. So knowing precision lubrication, knowing defect elimination, knowing the theory of PM optimization or RCM, knowing the 12 steps of RCM is great, good if you know and remember all of that. But there's a difference between knowing and actually applying and implementing these best practices to actually remove unplanned downtime, remove repeated failures, and increasing production at your facility, right? So there's a very big difference there, and I hope you understand that as well. When I'm sorry, there's someone wasn't muted. I don't know if there's a question or if it was an error. No, yeah, it was an error. Okay, we forgive you. We forgive you. So yeah, again, certification alone doesn't create value. Certification plus the application of knowledge creates value. For sure, there's an increase in salary. Some big organizations will promote compensation, salary, and career advancement if you are certified. That's for sure. There's no denial in that, right? But again, it's when you apply things, and if you're like me and you judge people on actions rather than words, you understand what I'm saying here. Recognition among peers, right? So what does it mean? It means that you went through the same process as dozens, thousands of reliability engineers around the world, right? So that to me is very important too. It means that you didn't just read a book, but you understood, you followed a process, a methodology, you understand the key concepts, you understand the body of knowledge and the definitions. For example, if you take OEE, what is it? How you calculate it? It is very well defined in the body of knowledge, right? And that to me is a good way of making sure we all, as CMRPs, follow the same process so that we're recognized among ourselves, and yet we share the same vocabulary and knowledge together. Networking opportunities, we'll touch base on that with the SMRP conference, the annual conference. There are local chapters as well. So feel free to reach out to the chapter in your state, in your province or area of the world. Get in touch with these people. If you want to volunteer, just like Brandon, don't hesitate to participate, get involved, and with the association, you can organize mini conferences or events in your area. I've participated in a few of them. It's excellent. It's a mini version of the yearly SMRP conference, and you'll get to meet a lot of people, make a good networking. And if you're also in looking for a next opportunity, you never know, right? You meet a lot of people in other industries in the same area, and you never know, there might be an opportunity for you at another organization where you can grow your knowledge and responsibilities. I see there's a question from Yann Adrien.
Yes,
We're listening.
yes, good morning. Please, I want to ask if there is a chapter in Africa.
Brendan, do you know if there's a chapter in Africa?
Not to my knowledge, there's not. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't form one. So there is an official process, right, for forming a chapter. It is a separate legal entity from SMRP. So there's things that we have to do to set that up. But absolutely, follow up with us, and we can get you some more information about what it kind of takes to form a chapter.
Yes, I have another question, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want to know, I was member in 2023, but since 2024, I did not pay again the membership, but I will do in this year. I want to know because when I paid last time, uh, there was not a chapter in Africa, so I chose something like this in America. So I don't know if we are in Africa, we want to pay the membership. Where are we supposed to choose a chapter, or we just pay like this?
Yeah, typically there's only, I think, a few chapters that charge an additional fee to be part of it, and that's because that money goes towards like regional events, like Johan's talking about. Typically, yes, you do sort of pick a chapter when you join. There is no additional cost for many of those chapters. So if you are forced to join a chapter or don't want to join a chapter, you don't necessarily have to. Yep, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. We've got Abdelaziz.
Mm, Yeah, hello everyone. Good day, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning. Thank you for this great event. I'm really seeing a very good presentation.
Mhm.
So thank you so much again. But I need to build on the word of my previous colleague for Africa region. I just need to request a special discount on certification cost because people here we are very much interested to take CMRP certifications. We all are keen on being certified in order to be great, like what you have nicely said. That's why I need to ask for special discount. I need to ask for special discounts coming for specific regions like India, for example, like Africa. People cannot afford, for example, paying $470 here, while they do not have that high salaries. Okay, so this is just my comment. If you can consider this comment into your consideration and make this as a special for us, it would be great for sure.
Okay. No, thank you very much for that input. As it stands today, right, we don't have regional pricing, although that doesn't mean that that's something that we are not willing to consider. We do have sort of group discounts and those kinds of things that we can offer. But no, you've talked to somebody that's directly on the board here, so I'm happy to bring that back for the board's consideration for strategic planning and future growth.
So please, what is the group discount announcement platform? And in
Uh,
which platform we can see the discounts?
That you would have to have some correspondence directly with our certification folks. So it's not going to be something that I would say is just posted up there right now for group discounts.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yann Adrien and Abdelaziz. Okay, let's switch gears. The certification journey.
Great.
Brandon, CMRP versus CMRT. What can you tell us about this?
Yes. So we're going to talk more about the CMRP for the rest of this presentation, but the CMRT is available. It is the Certified Maintenance Reliability Technician. So this tends to be, more technical. It's going to be things like, you might have some things like print reading or theory of operation of like a steam trap, right? It's going to be more day in the life of somebody that's on the floor turning wrenches. Where CMRP, it's going to be typically a little more strategic, I'd say, a little more around the theory of how to develop a maintenance plan versus the execution, which is more on the CMRT side.
Good.
Good.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Yep. So what is this? What does this thing look like? Boy, it is. It's an exam, and it can be pretty grueling. It's about 2.5 hours, closed book, so no notes. That's one of those requirements that comes along with the ANAB. There, you're going to touch on the 5 pillars, which we'll cover here in just a little bit. Like I said, we had about over 8,000 worldwide. The questions are rooted in experience. So it's not just memorization, it's really application or your ability to think through how you would apply that best practice within that specific scenario. And then, yes, there's a recertification cycle about every 3 years.
Good. So what are the pillars, Brandon?
Here are the 5 pillars. So it's business management, manufacturing process reliability. So that's going to be things like OEE. Business management is going to be more like strategic alignment, equipment reliability. It could be root cause analysis. It could be those RCM principles that Johan was talking about. Organizational and leadership. So that's going to be things like how to design your org, how to lead people right within tough situations, and then the work management. So that's the world that I live in now through MaintainX. So that's going to be like your CMMS usage, planning, scheduling, birth to death of a work order and everything that's associated with that. So there is a lot within these 5 pillars. I understand that if you're reading these are pretty broad topics. There is some additional information that SMRP provides to our members to help you sort of dig in further into these 5 pillars.
So are you eligible? Who's eligible to do that, Brandon?
I would say that almost everybody that's on this meeting is probably eligible. Okay, so unless you've taken the exam in the last 6 months, and you did not pass the exam and you have to take it, you're looking for a retake, that you are eligible. So there is no hour prereqs. There's no you have to go to this training, and once you're done with this training, then you're allowed to take the test. None of that exists. If you're a maintenance reliability practitioner and you're interested, you are eligible.
So what it takes to become certified is three things. Of course, there's training. You got to train, you got to understand the concepts. You got to have hopefully someone through, whether it's through workshops or class courses, whether it's online or in presence, study groups, workshops. This the more academic, there's no way around it really, because there are some um, concepts. There are some elements that, well, you just need to learn, right? And it goes through the body of knowledge and the content and the 5 pillars that Brendan just mentioned. So that would be number one. Number two is reading, right? So that's more of a complement of point number one. There are lots of reliability and maintenance focused books out there. Um, Quite frankly, it is very difficult to only boil down a list to just a few of them. Um, Brennan and I made the choice to, if we had only two to recommend, that would be the Reliability Centered Maintenance by John Mowbray and the Maintenance and Reliability Best Practices by Ramesh Gulati. These are the two most cited or read books in the maintenance and reliability universe. Next time you go to a maintenance and reliability conference, you'll see there are dozens of books out there, and great books, great resources. So yeah, don't just you don't have to just read these two. You can pick a few others that are as great as these ones, but the list would be long here. Of course, there's the SMRP body of knowledge. It is an excellent document that is available on the SMRP platform website, sorry, where you'll find the body of knowledge, the definitions, some the way you should calculate. For example, I used the example of OEE earlier. So how exactly do you do that? Because it can be interpreted in different ways, right? So you go back to a definition that is standardized. You have some benchmark as well when it comes to PM compliance, when it comes to planning, planned work versus reactive work, right? So you get some definitions and also benchmarks in this document. So a very resourceful document, I should say. And of course, well, podcasts, articles, videos, webinars. It's 2026, people. So there's a ton of content on the internet. Great podcasters, great webinars available. Hopefully, the ones that we produce with Reliability Solutions are part of what I would call great. So yeah, there's the reading portion. Before we get to point number 3, which is the practice, well, it's very important. I don't know if you've seen that stat before, but it takes, listening to something so many times and reading something so many times. But really what the difference is the application, the practice, right? So there's the practice in general, the general knowledge of reliability, but there's also the practice for the exam. So there are some practice tests available on the SMRP website, some with questions that you'll find in the exam or very similar to what you'll find in the exam. There are also some resources out there that are not I should say labeled SMRP, right? So you you choose. There are some good resources out there for sure, and practice questions and practice tests, right? But really, do not, do not underestimate the training and reading portion. Take notes while you read. Something that helped me is when reading the Gulati book is to, take a lot of notes. And yeah, you can use AI as well, but it may oversimplify things. Take the time to read the book. Take time, take notes, reflect on what you've read. The next day, when you go to work, reflect on what you've read and how you could apply that knowledge. This is really to me, it's the best way to really incorporate all that knowledge and prepare for the exam. For the exam, Pearson Centers will offer online or digital, I should say, exams, right? So there are a lot of centers worldwide. I know in Quebec, for example, it's located in Montreal. Maybe not ideal for some people who live far from Montreal, but yeah, it is the way it is, and it could be a good way for you to have a family trip to Montreal and enjoy the summer here, right? So yeah, it's in a Pearson Center, computer-based, closed book. There's an online calculator because there might be one or two questions where you have to do some calculations. Calculations, if I remember correctly, related to stock and reordering of spare parts. At least that's what I got. So you got to be ready for that. Yeah, so 6 months from payment to schedule and sit your exam. So you have 6 months to prepare and do your exam right after your payment. Results are available immediately after you submit, so there's no wait. And if you didn't pass, you can retake after 6 months.
Yep. Yeah. So for those that had the questions about the 6 months, again, the day you pay and register, you have 6 months from that point to take the exam. So it's not a waiting period. That's your grace period for when you want to schedule and take the exam. And then that second 6 months is no, you do not have to wait the entire 6 months. You could theoretically go schedule it and take it the next day or next week, whatever your testing center has available. It's just that's as long as they'll sort of hold it, if you will, before you go to the testing center. Then the other 6 months is if you do not pass the exam, you have to wait 6 months to retake it. So there is a cost associated with this, of course. In a perfect world, you're going to probably get your employer to foot this. A lot of us have that option. When I was self-employed and doing my own consulting and training, I was paying for this out of my business. So I feel the pain, right? It's not necessarily cheap, especially depending on what region of the world you're in. But there are justification letters and things that are on the SMRP website for both the conference and for certifications that you can provide your employer to try to encourage them to pay for it. And a lot of employers will pay for certifications, continuing education, those types of things. So I'd encourage you, instead of necessarily putting it on yourself, try to get your employer to do that for you, and then you keep the certification though, right? When you put in the work and you take the test and you pass it, it's your certification. It doesn't go to your employer. So if you change jobs, it would travel with you, right? As long as you hold it. So the total cost is $470 if you're a non-member. The idea is that we want to have you be a member, and there's so many free resources that are available to you if you become a member. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Just go ahead and sign up and become a member for a year, right? And then there's the additional $300 for the certification. The recertification every 3 years is $150 for an SMRP member. So again, there's some benefits there in maintaining your membership.
Yeah, and think about this. Like we said, lots of people get better compensation when they become certified, better opportunities of career. So better opportunities of career means higher salary. So it might be just, I know for some people it might be a lot. I understand that, but it is, if you consider this with the increase in salary and better opportunities, it is a small investment with a potential lifetime return, right? So this is something you can thrive on for the rest of your career. Yeah. So again, it's the same thing, same message. There's the membership, the training, the exam fees, the study material, time, and consistency. So yes, it is an investment, and there's also, you know, the investment in time for sure. But again, career growth, salary growth, professional opportunities, recognition and credibility, networking with a bunch of people. You may end up, you know, crossing the path of your future boss or colleague to the next SMRP conference or local chapter, and that may open up a universe of opportunities for you guys, right? So again, I'm not saying this is free, and there's a certain cost associated with. I think the return on investment speaks for itself. Maintaining the certification, Brendan, can you help us with that?
Yep, this is fresh on my mind because I'm due in December, and I'd rather not take that exam if I don't have to again. And so I've only taken it once and was able to pass and have maintained it ever since. So it's 50 course hours, and that can be made up of all sorts of different activities. It can be approved webinars that you go to. It can be the conference. It can be participating or volunteering on some of these committees. It can be preparing and giving training. You get credit hours for just your work experience. So over the course of 3 years, 50 hours, if you're paying attention and spreading it out and saving, make sure you save all your documentation, that you are that you'll be in good shape for recertification. Again, it has to apply to the pillars. So if you're pursuing an advanced degree, right, there are certain things that would certainly apply. So some of your classes would apply to like the business and management pillar. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Good. Thank you, Brendan. So success story. Let's hear about you, Brendan.
Yes. So my time in the Navy, coming out naturally, not every sort of 3-letter acronym, right, that we would use in the Navy would translate to the 3-letter acronyms that we hear in industry. So one of the reasons that I pursued certification is, one, my employer encouraged it. In fact, said, hey, listen, you have like 2 or 3 years to get your CMRP after joining us if you don't already have it. So that's clearly a good motivator, is your employer is saying this is something that you absolutely have to have. And then the other point was I was an excellent operator. I understood operational excellence. I understood basic maintenance practices, right, and as an electrician. But again, being able to have that credibility to sort of see the bigger picture beyond the work management that I was really, really good at was important to me, especially as I was looking to grow my career. That biggest challenge, though, right, was definitely figuring out what those things mean. I mean, the first time somebody asked me what CMMSs I had experience with, I gave them the blankest stare I think I probably could have given, because I had absolutely no idea what a CMMS was, even though we had used it on the ship in sort of a different form or factor, right? And in project management software that was, very similar during our shipyard availability. I just didn't know what that meant. When it came to reliability engineering, I had been the beneficiary of really, really good design for reliability, right? Aircraft carriers, nuclear stuff, naturally, you want those things to be safe, you want them to be reliable, and you want them to be operationally sound. So I never knew what it took to get there, right? And so coming out of industry, a lot of your plants, a lot of your facilities, a lot of your equipment, maybe you aren't handed the best maintenance plan. Maybe that thing has been there forever and ever. So that was the reliability engineering was probably the biggest challenge as far as just new stuff to learn and how to use those reliability centered maintenance practices to build those maintenance plans. instantaneously, having the 4 letters plus all my engagements with my clients and my past experience and really great mentors that I took the time to learn a lot from, that have their names on a lot of those books that you'll see out there. That gave me that credibility to then move into those positions where I could become more of a strategic advisor and instead of just like the planning, scheduling, work management guy. And my number one tip, a lot of folks are afraid of failure. And so you might be holding yourself back saying, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Take an honest look at where you're at, compare it to the body of knowledge, use some of these resources that we're talking about, and you'll be better prepared to take that exam.
Good. Inspiring. Thank you, Brendan. All right, the moment of humility for me. I failed at my first attempt at the CMRP certification. Well, I had an excess of confidence and arrogance. I gotta admit that. I was a loop tech at a mining site, and after 1 or 2 years, I thought, well, I know everything there is to know about reliability, and turns out I was completely wrong, right? So, yeah, it was a moment where I realized, okay, well, I gotta learn more. So with humility, I learned from peers. I changed, companies and entered what is now Reliability Solutions. So I learned from what I consider the best of the best in North America. I studied harder and worked on many different what we call big R projects, big reliability projects, such as PM development, asset hierarchy, building asset hierarchies, building bombs for SAP or whatever CMMS. There's a lot to know. There's a lot that you would not even think would exist. The level of complexity and details, it's pretty daunting, right? So did a lot of RCAs, defect elimination projects, worked with, the boots on the ground people and upper management, vice presidents of big organizations. So that, helped me gaining humility and perspective in that domain, right? So the payoff is after I got my certification, it was like a few years after. So recognition from my peers, of course. I should get a Brendan. I should get a a plaque, because I'm there every year. I'm at the SMRP conference as a speaker. So hoping for just I don't know, something like a rewards program or something. But no, just kidding. But it's great to have the opportunity to present. So if some of you become certified, don't hesitate to submit papers and abstracts to the conference. It is a great way to reflect on your work, and I always found that it's when you have to present and educate other people that you really learn about what you're doing, and you really understand the process that you're following and your thinking as well. So that to me is one of the perks, is have the ability to work and present at the SMRP conference every year. So my number one tip would be, if you're serious about reliability, well, be serious about the exam, be serious about the path, the learning path, the books. And it's not because you pass the exam that you're good forever. It's a continuous education, continuous learning. And yeah, so yeah, I hope that helps. Brendan, tips and tricks for the exam, and very quickly, because we have
we're running low on time here. So we mentioned it a few times, but there are certain aspects of the exam that you can memorize, because the formula for economic order quantity, or OEE, are not going to change. And there's other things that are more situational, right? So a best practice on its face is a best practice until it's in a varied situation that you have to apply it to, and then you've got to really think through that. So you're not going to be able to really memorize your way through this exam. Take those practice exams that we talked about. Some of these resources, these books have like little mini practice exams in the back of them, depending on the author. But there's also the official SMRP ones that you can procure for yourself. Spread out your study. Johan mentioned AI, right? AI can be a little sycophantic, right? Where it just tells you you're doing such a great job, you've got this. Okay, so just be careful with that. If you can, put it on hard mode, right? Ask it to be brutal on you if you're going to use AI, because what you don't want is a false sense of security from something like that.
Yeah, very good, very good comment, Brendan. I like that. Yeah, study plans. One thing that within our organization, one thing we have is study groups. We have a lot of young engineers join us and want to become certified. So typically it's a 3 years program we have in place for them with all the body of knowledge. But then the let's say the 12 weeks prior to the exam is critical. So we have study groups with the people who want to pass the exam. So there are weekly cadence calls. Everyone has homeworks, reading, and preparation to do, and present with the group what they learned throughout the week. So you can go pillar by pillar, right? So you review the content, you ask yourself questions, make sure everyone understands the concepts and key insights, and so on and so forth, right? So here's a little 7, 8 weeks or 12 weeks program prior to the exam that you can use, right? This is up to you, and it works for us. Typically, we have a high rate of success with this in our organization. So I feel free to get inspired by that. Some member testimonial, Brendan. I think we touched a lot on this.
Yep.
This is available on the SMRP website as well if you want to refer. So what about the next steps, Brendan?
Yeah, so there are a ton of resources out there. There are industry partners that can provide face-to-face training and all sorts of other opportunities to learn. So instead of mentioning all of those, we're really just going to talk about because there's a bunch of great ones, but we're really just going to talk about the ones that SMRP provides on this slide here. So there is the Training Academy. You can purchase individual pillars or the whole package, right? Somebody earlier had mentioned that they are more of like an interactive audio visual learner. So if that's you, the Training Academy is probably for you, right? Because that's going to be self-paced e-learning that you have access to for a period of time. And for some of us, we enjoy learning that way more than say reading a book or a study group. There's the body of knowledge document. So that is, I'll call it like an outline that goes much deeper into those 5 pillars. So it will show you, subjects and subsubjects of what makes up that body of knowledge, and that's what I like to use to sort of self-evaluate. So I'm reading through it, I'm looking for things. Do I think I know that, or do I actually know it? Oh, I better go do some research and learn more about it, like Weibull analysis, for an example, that I had some questions on that I did not do well on. Then there's the webinars, the SMRP library. Once you're a member, right, that $170 gets you access to all of that. Okay, the Training Academy is going to be an additional cost, but the body of knowledge document and the webinars in the SMRP library, many of those resources are free once you become a member. And then there's the best practice documents and white papers that we archive that, again, are available to you as a member.
Yeah, exactly. So on the SMRP platform, you'll find everything that you just mentioned, Brandon. The body of knowledge is, like I said earlier, is a key document in your learning path for sure. So don't underestimate it. Read it carefully. It's a great content. Yeah, it's like I said, in this document, standardized definitions, the language, the vocabulary, objectives, and some benchmarks. I mentioned that earlier. The conference, where is it this year, Brendan?
Yep, it is going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina this year. You can see September 28th through October 1st. I will be there. Naturally, we've got some board of directors meeting, and Geraldo Signorini is on here as well. He's going to be there with me. So yeah, great opportunity to network, to get those hours, right? If you're looking to recertify, it's an awesome place to do it. I'm going to be presenting in the leadership track. It's 5 conversations that you should be having, but probably aren't. So it's about having difficult conversations for performance evaluations and learning to say no, right? In some cases. So that's going to be a good one. That is with Lisa Brownlee will be co-presenting and her company Leaders Imago. Also going to be there at the Maintain X booth. So we're going to be there in force. So please come by the booth and say hi.
Yeah. One thing to mention, Brennan, so reliability solutions, we go to a lot of conferences out there, and this to me, SMRP is probably the best, one of the best there are. What I like the most about the SMRP conference is, for sure, SMRP, what they want is, for you to get certified. For sure, right? And beyond the certification, there's the knowledge share and everything. But what I like is that it's they don't necessarily try to sell you stuff, sell you some of their stuff. There's a lot of conferences out there where it's like you go to breakfast, but you feel like you're going to be sold something, right? So it's not the case with SMRP. This is what I like. It's a bit more sober, right? It's less of a party than other conferences, for sure. But to me, this is where you're going to get the top speakers and the top content and top knowledge sharing in all the conferences you'll find in North America. A little bit of a reliability solutions moment. So we'll be there on the first day. We'll have 3 workshops. So half day to full day workshops. If you want to put that on your learning path towards the certification, well, you can choose between these 3 workshops. I'll be leading one of them, but my good friends and colleagues Tom Carr and Mike Johnson will also host great workshops as well. So yeah, check it out. I highly recommend the conference, and I hope that Brennan and I can salute you in person in Raleigh, North Carolina in a few weeks. Brendan, you want the final word?
Yep. Somebody earlier had mentioned, kind of group discounts and partnerships, or a company partnership. We do have that. That's an option. So you can get a corporate membership, and there's the opportunity to save money on the exams, on memberships, all those kinds of things. So yeah, something that, if your company is interested and you've got a group of folks that really want to get certified and become members, that company route can be a way to do that.
Exactly. Well, so we had a few questions. We answered a few questions. So we're actually out of time. So very sorry, people. I see some questions in the chat. I'm going to stay and answer a couple of questions directly in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. I hope it was insightful. I'm sure it was. Brendan, you did very well, my friend. It was a pleasure hosting that with you, and I'm looking forward to having a beer or two in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Sounds good. Yes, let's thank Reliability Solutions for putting this on. Johan and R1, thank you so much for your hard work, and thank you everybody for attending.